When you can't make it to City Hall or the school board meetings, local journalists from Duluth News Tribune will be there to report the facts and get your questions answered. Local news works for you. Stay up to date at duluthnewstribune.com.
Hello, Northlanders. It's Friday, September 1st. I'm Wyatt Buckner, the Duluth News Tribune Minute, presented by Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union.
The average MPECU member saves over $785 a year in better rates and lower fees. And with MPECU, every ATM is your ATM. With their free checking program, you get ATM fee reimbursements at any ATM anywhere in the U.S. Check out Minnesota Power Employees Credit Union's services online at mpecu.com or visit their offices in downtown Duluth, Arrowhead Road, or Miller Trunk Highway.
It's Friday, and if you're looking for ideas for some fun things to do this weekend, Duluth News Tribune arts and entertainment reporter Jay Gabler has some options in this week's Best Bets.
Happy Labor Day weekend. Enjoy the long weekend here in Northland, even though it does mean, sort of by conventional accounting, the end of summer. But don't worry, there are plenty of bright sides to summer coming to an end. Of course, there are the beautiful fall colors that are going to start rippling up the North Shore. And then there are books. Publishers stack the shelves throughout the fall season as people get ready to curl up with new titles. And of course, get ready to think about what gifts they might want to give to their friends and family over the holidays. This week's edition of Best Bets is all about books. And of course, the Pride Festival, let's not forget, is happening in Duluth and Superior this weekend, Duluth Superior Pride. And you can read all about that in my front row seat column at the Duluth News Tribune. So just putting that out there, if you want to go out and have fun this weekend, there's a whole weekend of Pride Festival fun. But when you're ready to take a break, take a breath, curl up with a book, there are some great options in Best Bets, as well as some listings of readings that are happening this week in Duluth and elsewhere in the Northland. A couple of new books to note. Maria Bamford, one of the most famous people to come out of Duluth and one of our most on-brand celebrities. She has a new memoir called Sure, I'll Join Your Cult. It is described by the publisher as a brutally honest and hilariously frenetic memoir about show business, mental health, and the comfort of rigid belief systems. That book comes out Tuesday, and I can't wait to dig into it. I'll be reviewing that book for my column next week. So if you're curious for my take on the book, you can read that next week, but better to read the book yourself. Again, comes out on Tuesday. Also coming out on Tuesday, The Science of Agatha Christie. Now, you might have heard of these authors, Kelly Florence, who is a Duluthian, and her writing partner, Meg Halfdals, a Rochester resident who grew up in Duluth. They have penned books together explaining the science behind women in horror, Stephen King, serial killers, monsters, and witchcraft. And now they are turning their gimlet eyes to the queen of crime herself. It is a well-timed book with A Haunting in Venice, set to hit movie theaters, and the Duluth Playhouse set to produce Murder on the Orient Express. So if you're curious about the science behind Agatha Christie's mysteries, you can read all about it in this new book, The Science of Agatha Christie, coming out this coming Tuesday, September 5th. And one more book that I would like to mention, sort of a fun title for children. It's called Snowy Halloween. It's about Halloween 1991. Now, a lot of people who are listening weren't even born then, but if anyone was old enough to trick-or-treat in 1991, and certainly if you were old enough to be a parent of trick-or-treaters and to be shoveling, you remember that incredible Halloween of 1991 when all of Minnesota was hit with a massive blizzard. In Duluth alone, 190 million cubic feet of snow landed. So this book, Snowy Halloween, is all about that snowy Halloween of 1991. It's co-written by Isaac and Jen Hunt. They're going to be at Leif Erikson Park on Tuesday from 5:30 to 7 p.m., alternating readings of that book and another new book they wrote called The Yellow Dragon. That's Tuesday at Leif Erikson Park in Duluth. For more information on these and other best bets for the week, check out duluthnewstribune.com. I'm Jay Gabler.
Now here's a look at today's headlines. U.S. Steel is sharing due diligence information and has entered into confidentiality agreements with numerous potential buyers after receiving multiple unsolicited proposals for all or parts of the company, the iron ore mining and steelmaking company said in a letter to stockholders this week. Because of those confidentiality agreements, Pittsburgh-based U.S. Steel, which owns the Mintech and Keytech mines and pellet processing plants in Mountain Iron and Keewatin, respectively, as well as a minority interest in Hibbing Taconite, would not disclose what companies had made offers. U.S. Steel has already rejected a $7.3 billion offer by Cleveland-Cliffs, which owned the remaining interest in Hibbing Taconite and 3 other Iron Range mines and pellet plants. Cliffs' offer has the backing of the United Steelworkers Union. Reuters reported that Luxembourg-based ArcelorMittal was considering making an offer to buy U.S. Steel too. Last week, a third company, Esmark, withdrew its cash offer to buy U.S. Steel for $35 per share, or $7.8 billion, in light of the United Steelworkers backing the Cliffs offer. Cliffs had previously demanded U.S. Steel disclose any offers made by other companies, citing a move by the United Steelworkers to transfer their right to bid for the U.S. Steel to Cliffs. The union's contract with U.S. Steel allows it to make an offer for the company if it is for sale, and the steelworkers transfer that to Cliffs. Cliffs and the steelworkers maintain the contract requires union approval of any sale of U.S. Steel, but U.S. Steel maintains that it does not grant the union the power to veto a sale. If Cliffs is successful in buying U.S. Steel, it would run every operating iron ore mine in the country. In Minnesota, Cliffs owns and runs United Taconite in Eveleth and Forbes, Minorca Mine in Virginia, and North Shore Mining in Babbitt and Silver Bay. It also manages and owns the majority of Hibbing Taconite. Cliffs also has Tilden Mine on Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Like U.S. Steel, Cliffs ships its iron ore pellets to steelmaking facilities it owns along the eastern Great Lakes. Cliffs obtained the facilities after purchasing ArcelorMittal's United States operations and AK Steel in 2020. A combined Cliffs and U.S. Steel would be the 10th largest steel producer in the world, according to Cliffs' presentation to investors. Work will begin this fall on the new terminal and maintenance facility at Sky Harbor Regional Airport in Duluth. The project is anticipated to be completed by summer 2024. Sky Harbor is owned and operated by the Duluth Airport Authority. It consists of a 2,600-foot-long runway, parallel taxiway, and seaplane ramp. Its existing terminal building was constructed in 1979. For decades, it welcomed visitors to Duluth, greeted residents home, and provided a place for pilots to get the latest information before they have their upcoming flight, according to Tom Werner, Duluth Airport Authority's executive director. However, the building doesn't meet Americans with Disabilities Act standards and is no longer well suited for its users, Werner said during a groundbreaking ceremony Wednesday. The terminal side of the building will be demolished and the attached hangar will receive a new roof and siding. The new terminal will feature an upscale pilot lounge, modern flight planning room, and outdoor patio areas. The new terminal costs a total of $2.45 million, including $190,000 from the Duluth Airport Authority, $330,000 in state funding, and $1.93 million in federal funding. The maintenance building is funded by $1.16 million in federal funding, $120,000 from the state, and $90,000 from the Duluth Airport Authority, totaling $1.37 million. Sky Harbor has an average of 13,500 flight operations per year, mostly single-engine aircraft. Private aircraft owners primarily from a 7-state region come to Sky Harbor for a variety of reasons, like parking their planes, fueling, and using the courtesy car while underwing camping, sightseeing, and running errands. Now here's a look at your forecast, brought by Superior Telegram's history podcast, Archive Dive.
Good morning. The Duluth weather forecast for today. A few sprinkles very early, but generally becoming a partly cloudy to sunny day. Warm with a high temperature up in the middle 80s. Southwest winds around 15 to 20 with gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. For tonight, mostly clear, still kind of breezy. Temps falling down into the mid 60s. Winds going west around 5 to 15 with a few higher gusts this evening. Saturday, sunny and warm with temps in the upper 80s. Believe it or not, Sunday we're headed for the mid-90s, even down in the Duluth Harbor area. I'm Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler.
Thank you to Archive Dive for their support. The monthly history podcast, hosted by Superior Telegram reporter Maria Lockwood, dips into the archives of historic events, people, and places around Superior and Douglas County. You can find the latest episode of Archive Dive at superiortelegram.com or wherever you also get this podcast. Reporting for today's episode was done by Jimmy Lovren, Brielle Bredston, and Jay Gabler. Thank you for listening to the Duluth News Tribune Minute. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.